than Discord
Stream was
does.
hearing you more quietly than I was hearing you in here, so you may need to turn yourself up in OBS or like turn everything up and like turn yourself down. Like, you know, you might have to tinker. But
yeah, I'm as up as I can be in OBS.
They say
I sound balanced. We're good. Cool.
Yep.
Groovy.
Okay.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
This was
we ended up starting at 7:30 anyway, like I said. See?
Everything up till now was just bonus content.
Yeah.
It was a ruse.
You all were even mercifully spared from all the cursing I was doing. All right. So, we do have a free moment this evening. Because we're not going to be able to finish Hope anyway, you can choose to go hang out with Hope. Or you can do one of these other ones. Benoit's been waiting very patiently.
Fuck Benoit. I'm never going to see Benoit ever again. I want to be honest. I'm inferring this is like my last free time segment. I kind of want to see what's up with Paul Blart.
All right.
Yes. You know what?
We might actually get one more, and we might actually have enough time to do the entire Paul Blart.
Finish the Paul Blart story arc.
The streetlights filter into the apartment in a stark white glow, as if someone were shooting a movie outside. The art pieces display a tasteful expense entirely fitting the image you have of Sophie. It feels as if 1,000 sins have been committed on these premises, most of them under her benevolent hospitality. Sophie comes to greet you as you enter the living room, shaking her head.
You understand that people judge me based on how you dress, don't you?
Bitch, what the fuck's wrong with how I dress?
Sophie looks at your clothes as if resigned to your sartorial
You could have had the Bruja or you could have had some kind of ape child, and instead you got a corporate middle manager, and you're still gonna complain at me?
Imagine what they would get put through, though. It's like a passive-aggressive, middle-aged white mom taking it out on her daughter.
Still no grandkids, huh?
Yeah.
Number 3. I've had other things to worry about than shopping for clothes. If anything, you should be asking why I'm still holding my wallet in my hand.
Sophie walks to the window and looks out, the streetlights playing on her features. She reminds you of a queen contemplating the unfortunate limitations of her subjects.
You'd think that as a vampire, at least, we wouldn't have to worry about the vultures of the press. Unfortunately, when you have power and ability, there are always parasites trying to feed on you.
Number 1. Is there a reporter after you?
Yes, a terribly persistent creature.
Sophie steps away from the window and settles down on a sofa, a wine glass with red liquid in it, blood, treated as not to spoil. You become good at noticing the scent, even from a distance. She doesn't offer you any as you cautiously sit down across from her.
This awful man has been stalking my apartment with a camera. He's gone through my trash, talked to the neighbors. Please be a dear and explain to him that there's nothing for him here.
Oh god, I my eyes missed the word "the," and with Ebonward on the brain, I thought, is this about Masquerade? Yeah, number 2. Is this about the Masquerade? This feels like it would make more sense if we had done this event earlier in the story, but... The Masquerade? Is that the potent thing for us?
Indeed, you're learning.
Number 2. Isn't this unavoidable when we fake mortal lives?
Do you really think you can tell me how to live?
Man, Sophie's very judgmental right now.
She's kind of being a little bitchy today.
Number 2. Do you know anything about this reporter? Man, woman, young, old, anything like that?
Kevin James, perhaps?
All gossip reporters look the same to me. Time for you to go. I have business to attend to. Damn, Sophie, what the
You
fuck?
also have business to attend to. Mine. You leave the apartment as Sophie disappears into another room. You don't have a clear idea of the games she plays with the city's mortal and immortal power structures, but she always seems to be making a move. Outside on the street, there's a slight warm drizzle, the kind that gets under your clothes and makes you want to take a shower when you get back into your own haven. No reporters immediately jump out to you.
Number 1.
You start with the basics of investigative work. You ask the proprietor of the bodega around the corner, the homeless man sleeping in a nearby doorway, and the doorman of another building whether they've seen anyone strange. Detective work produces results. You get the description of a man who sounds like a reporter. Older, overweight, pasty, in bad physical condition, professional camera. Once you know what you're looking for, it's not difficult. You spot a man who matches the description and follow him. You enter an alley, a dark, dingy space between 2 tall buildings. Once upon a time, a place like this might have worried you, made you think of muggings and violence. Now it's clear that the most dangerous thing here is you. The man you're following seems to realize this too. He holds his camera in front of him like a shield, its heavy objective resting on his paunch. With a start, you recognize him. You remember his face, the shaded sunglasses from a picture next to a byline in some trashy paper someone thrust in your face at a company party. His name is Frank Doherty, and he'd taken pictures of one of your investors feeling up a sex worker at a nightclub. You'd been there too, and the funny thing was, what Doherty showed in the photo was just the tip of the iceberg. After all, work hard and play hard was the order of the day. Hey, don't go around scaring people like that.
Love this.
Hey, Lois.
I cannot believe you've done this. You have truly made this a horror.
Griffin, I am him. Peter Griffin. Christ. The phrasing on that third one is fucking hilarious. Number 2, why not? Wow, you're Frank Doherty. I'm a huge fan. Love your work.
Ah, thank you. It's nice to have one's work appreciated.
Number 2. What are you reporting on?
I'm not sure you can help me. Well, perhaps you can. You live here? I'm working a story about a local resident. Her name is Sophie Langley. Everyone knows her in high society circles. She's a redhead, pretty as a picture, and there were a lot of pictures of her through the years. That's the thing, in fact. Look at this.
Oh, dude.
Shows me a fucking photo of Sophie on the Titanic.
Frank pulls out his phone and starts showing you pictures. Some have been downloaded from news sites, while others are photos from the society pages of newspapers from past decades. All show Sophie. She has different clothes, hairstyles, makeup, names, but the face remains the same.
You gonna gaslight him? Please. Please do it.
Oh god. I'm torn because I think number 3 is funny. I also think it's funny for the first thing to be like, oh, they're all hot. You know, let's say number 3. Let's try to take the moral high ground here. So you're a stalker of some sort?
I thought we had already established I'm a reporter. Come on, I'm just doing my job.
My jab.
My jab.
Number 3. How much do you know? Have you told anyone else?
Yeah.
Produces knife. You must have a theory about what's happening.
I have a theory or two, but before I print my theory, I need facts to back it up. Have you ever heard of adrenochrome? Three.
I was looking away as you said that, and I believed wholeheartedly he asked that in this fucking game.
3 words: extreme plastic surgery. All the celebrities do it, only her doctor is better than the rest. You look critically at the photos on Frank's phone.
Number 2. Sure, I guess. If you find out who the surgeon is, let me know. I could have some work done.
You're right. Yeah, it makes no sense. Damn. So how would you explain it?
I just agreed with your theory. What do you want from me?
I suck. I'm the stupidest. I'm just the worst. And you're the worst for agreeing with me. This is stupid. I'm so stupid. Stupid.
God.
We were running out of time when we wrote the dialogue trees for this segment.
They were drinking.
Number 3. Fake news. Have you considered the possibility that those pictures are a hoax?
Sure, anything can be a hoax, but I dug up those old papers from the archives myself. I gotta have something usable.
Ooh, yes.
I mean, yeah, just let's go with number 3.
You look Frank in the eyes. They are red behind his shaded glasses, veins popped from years of neglecting his body. Suddenly, he seems soft, easy to manipulate, his will nothing but plaster crumbling under your boot.
Go home and destroy your research on Sophie Langley.
Okay. As your vampiric gaze takes over Frank's mind, he feels less than a person and more like an automaton, a machine you can program. Perhaps this is why older vampires are said to think of humans as nothing but animals. How can you consider someone a thinking person with free will when you can override them at any moment? Frank is mumbling, fondling his camera, inching around you to the entrance of the alley. He looks sad and worn as he goes, a man who used to be something, now just a shell. Feels almost embarrassing to use the powers of your blood on someone so weak. At least you're pretty sure he'll stay away.
He'll stay as far away as the period that we didn't put at the end of that sentence.
Very far. A piece of paper is sticking out of your mailbox. It's a computer printout. A note and a screenshot from Google Maps. It reads, "Meet me at the indicated spot tomorrow at 10 p.m. I'll pick you up and we'll take it from there." No signature. The place marked on the map is the lookout point near Pier 1, just next to the Brooklyn Bridge. You check the phone that Mia passed on to you. No new messages, no missed calls. It's all a bit fishy, but there's only one way to find out who addressed this to you. Looks like tomorrow evening has been planned out for you. You go downstairs as soon as you wake up. One more glance at the phone, but no news from Mia. You take the car down to Brooklyn Park on Front Street, and approach. You take the car down to Brooklyn, park on Front Street, and approach the meeting spot cautiously. A figure of about Mia's size is standing there, dressed in an oversized jacket and looking out towards Manhattan. As you approach, you can hear her muttering something.
It is true. Wait, who is... Okay. It is true, but I don't think it's true. If I don't think it's true, then it cannot be true. And if it cannot be true, then...
Number 1? Hey, Mia, is that you?
The woman turns around. It's not Mia. Whoever it is, you've never seen her before. She looks perfectly plain and unmemorable.
It is not her, it's you. You're me and I'm you. We're her, and we're here.
You turn around. 3 men, all of them burly and threatening, approach you. One of them takes the lead. "So, you got the message."
Heard you was fucking with my boy Paul Blart. Number 1. I did. What now?
Now? Now you'll come with us. The boss wants to meet you.
Huh. This doesn't feel like Torque. This feels more likely to be Callahan because I don't. They gave us a lot of information about him for someone who wasn't gonna be involved, and this feels more his style. So I'm gonna say number 2. Callahan.
That's Boss Callahan to you,
Yep.
fuckface. I suggest you get a move on. We've got places to be. The voice of the woman keeps creeping into your consciousness, the litany of gibberish ever present throughout this entire conversation. The man cracks his knuckles. Or, we could do it the hard way.
Yeah, sure, we'll go with him. Yeah, okay, I'll go with you.
Smart. They lead you down the pier and onto a motorboat. The engine starts. Put this on. He points to a cloth sack. One of the guys is holding you down. The woman is still there, whispering to herself. Somehow, you hear her voice clearly in your head. It becomes a nagging suggestion to put the sack over your head. You don't really want to do it, but your hands go through the motions all the same. It takes 15 or so minutes to reach your destination, you think. The engine dies down and you're led on shore, and then further, up an incline and through some overgrowth. 10 more minutes of walking, maybe, until a deep voice reaches your ears. Vincent, my dear boy! Why the hood over our guest's face? Well, boss, I thought... No. That will not do. How many times do I have to repeat myself, Vincent? You don't have to think. You have to listen and do what you're told. Yes? Yes, boss. Well, take that ridiculous sack off their head, will you? The hood comes off. The owner of the deep voice is a curious sight. Dressed in what can only be described as Victorian clothing with a monocle and graying red hair. Is this Callahan?
Whoa, okay.
Apologies
Hello.
for Vincent's unacceptable behavior. He can be a little thick sometimes. Isn't that right, Vincent?
Hello there, Professor Moriarty.
Yes. Yeah, boss. Sometimes. A little. I believe you already know who I am.
God. Like, what you said about how, like, basically from here on out, everything is effectively determined no matter what my choices are, really tempts me to say number 3 and start making the most contrarian choices, but no, we won't use that metagame knowledge to our advantage. We'll just be nice and go with number 1. Your boss, Callahan.
Right you are. And I'm guessing you know my role in this city. I represent the Anarch movement, while you... I'm not quite sure what you represent. I have invited you here to find out. Now, let me make myself perfectly clear. I am disappointed in you, truly disappointed, but I arranged this meeting to allow you to make amends. First, though...
Oh, you must be mistaken. Make amends is on Thursday.
Yes. Damn it. I have to make sure you understand what your infraction was. So, do you know why you're here?
You know, let's not tip our hand. Let's say number 1. I can't help but feel like you're dying to tell me.
Don't get smart with me. He takes your face in his hand, while Vince holds you in a tight grip. He squeezes hard and looks you deep in the eyes. Torque is the reason you're here, or that angry little strumpet of his, I'm told, yes? Mia! Oh, how I'd love to get my hands on her gaunt neck and wring it until it breaks. But see, I'm a statesman. That's not the prudent thing to do. No, indeed, the prudent thing to do is to tolerate both her and that blasted ebony-skinned mentor of hers.
That's a weird way to refer
to be racist. Yeah.
Yeah, like I can't even. I like my gut reaction is like, that seems racially insensitive. I don't even know. Like, when the fuck does anyone ever use a term like that to describe someone who I assume is black? It's like.
If you ask me, it all went downhill when you women folk got voting
never mind.
rights.
All right, yeah, he is a racist. Okay, I guess.
Made you believe you were on the same level as us men. What a ridiculous notion that was.
I believe. Yeah, I believe.
I don't believe that these anarchs are letting this dude do whatever. God, I don't understand how no one has fucking killed this dude yet. Maybe it's a joke.
You ask me, we should still be shooting poor people on sight and extending slavery to anyone who hasn't got a knighthood.
Yeah.
Number one.
Everybody's a serf.
Finished with your disgusting rant?
Oh, fledgling, you have no idea who you're messing with. He looks at you with rage in his eyes, and you feel insignificant and vulnerable. An irrational fear takes over you. You can't speak up against this man again. You just can't. He's too terrifying. Now that I have your full attention, I will request something from you, and you will obey me to the letter. But that comes later. First, you'll answer a few questions. The first of which is, who pointed you to Mia?
I love how that's phrased. Sophie made me do it. So we're not allowed to backtalk him, but we can still lie to him. Let's go with number 2. I'm sure it will work out very well for us. Nobody. It was my idea.
Oh, really? And what was your intention behind the meeting?
You know what? This is reasonable to be honest about, so we'll just say number 2. I wanted to contact Torque. I had to go through Mia.
Ah, yes. The so-called veteran loves to use petite girls to hide behind, I heard. That would check out. What did you end up discussing?
Both technically true. Let's say number 2, just in case he will give us his own take on it. I just wanted to learn about the Anarchs, so I asked her about the movement.
Oh, child, you should have come to me then. I am the Anarch movement in New York City, and nobody makes a secret out of it. You bet on the wrong horse, as I'm sure you'll soon learn. See? That wasn't hard, now was it? Of course, I can't be sure how much of what you just told me was the truth, and how much of it is worth about as much as yesternight's horse shit.
I miss when New York was covered in the stuff.
But I'll find out. I always do. And when I do, we'll have another one of these nice talks. And maybe, just maybe, you'll avoid this upcoming unpleasant episode next time. He gives Vince a sign, and the burly man starts hitting you all over. You feel teeth, ribs, and fingers break. Your foot is mangled under Vince's boot. Your shoulder dislocated. Your nose wrecked. That's enough, Vincent. Leave them be. He snaps his fingers in front of your face a few times and checks if you can focus on his face. You can, but barely. Also, on his face. I am a man of principle. Another night, I would perhaps put you in a casket, dip it in concrete, and dump it in the Hudson. A favorite of mine during the Roaring '20s. It's been a while. But like I mentioned before, I am nothing but prudent, and so the interests of this city's kindred must come before my own needs and wants. I will therefore let you continue your existence. Here's what I require in return for this boon. You are forbidden to meet Torque. I will keep an eye on you, on him. If you want a place with the Anarchs, you go through me and only me. Got it? You have to...
Joke's on you. I don't want a place with the Anarchs.
You have to understand, what I made my associates do to you tonight was just business. We can still work out a mutually beneficial relationship. In fact, it's either that or your final death. Time to go, Vincent. Take the boat back. Leave the fledgling here. I think they have a lot to think about. Sure thing, boss. Pleasure making your acquaintance. Callahan walks away, as do Vince and his band of thugs. You lie on the ground for a while longer, feeling the blood slowly putting your body back together, your hunger growing. You can hear the beast calling, for sustenance, for safety, for revenge. A distant but pronounced third desire. It's not until you mend yourself enough to appear more as a mugging victim than an impossibly mangled walking cadaver that you hail a passing taxi and head back to your haven. The whole way there, you're tempted by the beast. Your driver, a 30-something with a strong Slavic accent and an unpronounceable name on his ID, keeps asking if he should drive you to the hospital. You keep declining, all the while thinking that if only you asked him to pull over for 5 minutes, you could feast on his warm blood to the beast's content. Drink him whole. Nobody would know. Nobody but his wife and kids, if he has them. Nobody but his boss and coworkers. Nobody but you, as you look in the mirror tomorrow. Keeping your hunger at bay was never before as difficult as it is tonight. The driver stops at your apartment building. There's nobody around. You can do it. Do it. Now. Now!
Oh no! Do you think you'd be able to?
Well, this is a little... I mean... I feel like the, canonically correct option here would be to feed on him, just not all until he dies, because, clearly it would be wise, but...
Yeah, but you're frenzying right now.
We'll try to be a good guy.
Alright. You pay the driver and walk out. Fast. Leave the car behind. Don't look back. Look back. Walk back. Feed. No. Through the door, up the stairs, key in the lock, open the apartment, walk in, lock yourself in. The familiar four walls of your haven are a blessing. The beast inside you keeps nagging, but you kept it at bay tonight. Not a small feat given your state. You're still weak. You're still not quite mended. You need to rest. Tomorrow, you'll have to feed again. I believe you don't frenzy as bad if you if you were full of blood before, but even still, I think even if you're full, you spend blood to mend your wounds.
Yeah.
Tomorrow you'll have to consider your next move. Callahan is not the kind of man who quits, but tonight you rest. Wow.
That's okay. I can get some blood from Paul Blart.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Waking up tonight feels different for two reasons. For one, you're pleasantly surprised that your body mended reasonably well while you were resting. It comes with a caveat, though. The hunger you feel is pronounced, the beast like a black dog on the edge of your vision, following you. But what is truly remarkable is waking up to the tune of an old cell phone ringtone. An unknown number is calling the phone you got from Mia. You pick up. Kept that old thing charged after all, huh? You alright?
Fucker. You bitch.
Number 3. No, actually, I feel like shit.
Look, that's too bad, but I don't really care. I was just being polite. Calling with good news. Torque has agreed to meet you. There's a pub in the Bronx, Solids and Stripes. Be there tonight. 2 things. No drinking on the premises, so if you want to grab a snack, do it before setting foot in the borough. And this is an exclusively no powers meeting. We'll be rubbing shoulders with commoners the whole evening, and also we don't trust you, so keep it casual or you'll blow it. Anything you'd like to add?
May as well get her take. Let's just say number 1. Let's be very straightforward. Yeah, I met, heavy quotes, Callahan yesterday. He kicked my ass and forbid me from meeting Torque. Not sure I should be there tonight.
Silence on the line. Fuck. More silence. Can't promise you any protection on your way there or back, but at the pub you'll be in Torque's domain. For all his posturing, Callahan doesn't have the balls to strike Torque directly. We'll post additional lookouts on watch. It's the best I can do. If Callahan got under your skin, I get it. I was in that spot once or twice too. All I've got to say is, the risk is worth it. If you don't show tonight, I won't blame you, but it's a one-time offer only. You gotta hedge your bets. Just don't do anything stupid. You meet with us tonight, it better be in good faith. She ends the call. First things first, you take the subway to York Street Station, walk to Front Street, retrieve your car, and weigh your options while driving back to your haven.
Okay. I don't know what trust your intuition means exactly, but I think, especially if we're going to be surrounded by people the whole evening, it would be ill-advised for us to not try to feed beforehand, so we'll try that.
You've been doing this for a good few nights. You're getting a feel for it. You're learning what kind of predator you are and what kinds of blood you crave. You're so caught up in yesterday's problems and this cloak and dagger debacle you're now a part of that the hunt feels almost automatic and casual tonight. A fragment of you surrenders control. Just a few minutes after you find your victim, coax them, and drink from them, you find you've forgotten their face and how they were dressed. It only hits you once you look at yourself in your car's rearview mirror. This was wrong. You can't let this become the norm. You hurt somebody, a human being. You're a monster. You need to stay mindful of this. You're a monster, but unless you let yourself off the hook, you can hold on to your humanity and not let yourself slide down this spiral. Instead of clearing your mind, this clouded it further, and you're still no closer to a decision.
And I still have the blood border. Fuck you, game.
Yeah, it shrunk down a little bit, but...
Harumph.
Harumph.
Alright. Well, I'm not gonna go back to mommy and tell her she needs to do my laundry for me. Drive around. What would be the point of driving around before going to the meeting? Honestly, don't know. But that sounds like maybe I've got an option of finding some new piece of information, so let's drive around.
You do intend to visit Torque tonight, but you decide to drive around a bit first. Something tells you there may be somebody tailing you. It sounds sensible to try and lose them. You spend a good 2 hours looking in your rear view mirror and driving all over the city before finally driving to the Bronx. You take some basic precautions as you enter Torque's turf.
Oh, he lives with Agathon's
He lives with
grandma.
Agathon's grandma, yeah. You park a few...
What a fucking plot twist would it be if Agathon's grandma was Torque?
Yeah.
Yes.
You park a few streets over from where the pub is and walk towards it while keeping an eye out for anyone suspicious and also waving at Agathon's grandma.
Yeah.
who waves back in kind.
You stop in, she's made enchiladas. It's a very nice evening.
That kindred, for the most part, look no different than regular people, makes things complicated, of course. If you're being followed or watched, it's going to be hard to tell. You reach the pub, shoot a final glance around. There's nobody suspicious around as far as you can see, and you open the door. The smell of cigarettes is overwhelming. The whole place has an aura about it, a constant fog hanging right under the ceiling. The lethargic fans do nothing to disperse it. The constant crack of billiard balls and clinking of glasses tell you all you need to know about the clientele. Not a very vampiric place at all. You're wondering if you got the address right. You apparently did. Mia's here. She motions you over to one of the few tables around. Took your sweet time to get here. What, got cold feet? Never mind. Anyone follow you?
Bed number 2. Not that I know of.
Fair enough. Before I introduce you, there's some outstanding business to discuss. Arturo proved to be a dead end. Everyone knows the guy, but nobody knows anything concrete about him. If Bruce really told you he was Arturo's ghoul, he must have been lying out of his ass. Or else you were just spitballing, in which case, fuck you for having me investigate that creep. Come on, Torque's right here.
Oh, that's cruel.
You walk toward one of the tables. A guy in a coat and hat leans over to take his shot. He's way ahead of his opponent. The table is clear of his balls, save for the 8-ball in a tricky position. Hey, they're here. Be with you in just a moment.
Oh, this guy is fucking cool.
Yeah.
The hit is fast, precise, and sends the black ball exactly where its player wanted it. His opponent lets out a frustrated sigh. That's that. I believe that's 150 American dollars, Joey. You want to pay up now, or up the stakes again? The disgruntled man accepts his defeat, pays up, and says he's going to grab another beer. To the victor go the spoils. Thank you kindly. He turns his full attention to you. The man is good-looking, if somewhat gaunt and intense. His eyes especially seem to pierce right through you to your core, but not in an unpleasant way. Name's Torque. I believe you're Theodora, Sophie Langley's new plaything. Is that right?
Yep.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's say number 2. Getting awfully sick of it. You anarchs too? How does everybody always know that?
Word travels fast when you care to listen, fledgling. We wouldn't be talking tonight if I hadn't learned that a long time ago. Forgive my being real with you right off the bat, but I like to know who it is I'm dealing with. So here's something that I've been scratching my head about. If you're with Langley, and Langley's Cam through and through, I'm told, what is it you've come to accomplish here tonight?
As much as I'd love to say, you know what, never mind. Now I'm just here to prove that women deserve the right to vote. Let's say number 1. Sophie Langley wants to meet with you. Don't ask why, she didn't tell me. She just said it has something to do with gathering allies against Boss Callahan. I'm here to arrange that meeting.
The fuck? I knew nothing about this, T. They lied to me. Mia's furious. She's looking at the pool cue and you as if she was figuring out the best combination for the two. It's fine. I appreciate the honesty, even if you weren't straight with my second in command. That I don't appreciate. Well, well, well. Ain't that an interesting proposition? You can't seriously be thinking about meeting with Langley. She's hardline Cam. It's a trap. It must be. It just might be. It just might. He looks at you, pierces you with his unnaturally keen eyes. He's about to say something when a door opens at the back of the room. Hey, Torque.
Hey, Torque, you, got a guess they're in the back.
Oh no.
Mia, won't you be a dear and keep our new friend company? I'll see what the commotion is. Sure thing. Torque tips his hat to you and walks to the back, joining the man who called for him. Mia glowers at you, this time weighing one of the pool balls in her hand. She looks like she has half a mind to chuck it at your face. You gotta be quite happy with yourself, bluffing your way in here.
Honestly, number 1. Hey, whatever works. I got the message across, and that's what matters.
Achieving your goal, no matter the cost, even if you have to lie and cheat your way into people's graces. Fucking hell, the cam's got you good, fledgling. Here, I was beginning to think you might make a good addition to our little family. There's a whole lot of trust you'll have to regain before that happens now. Torque appears from a door at the back and calls across the room. Yo, Mia, can I grab you for a second? Theodora, get over here too. You go to the back room. It's basically a storage area with a single wooden desk. It's pretty cramped, especially considering there are 5 other people in there with you.
This is my person hole.
This is where I keep my original Mortal Kombat 2 arcade cabinet, and also my filing cabinet. Torque ushers you in.
It contains documents on how to perform every combo in Mortal Kombat 2.
Torque ushers you in and closes the door behind you and Mia. Two burly dudes are holding someone down. A familiar voice reaches your ears. Motherfuckers,
Oh, no.
you're gonna pay for this, you hear me? The boss is gonna fuck you up so bad, you have no idea. Have you had the doubtful pleasure of meeting Mr. Cerruti before, Theodora?
Number 2. You could say that.
You're fucked! You're so fucked you don't even know it! You stupid piece of shit! I should have ended you yesterday. The boss told you to stay away. You should have listened. That's a story and a half, ain't it? Vince, calm down now and tell me how many of your guys are still out there on my turf. Go fuck yourself. You're done. The boss will know this stupid piece of shit fledgling came here. He knows they're with Langley. You know what that means, Torque. No, I don't. What does it mean, Vince? Now the boss can wipe you out. He'll just say you're sucking Langley's tits and all those buddies of yours, gone. You're done, Torque. Well now, if that's the case, I guess ridding NYC of your toady ass wouldn't make things any worse, will it? Actually, there's an idea. Vince mentioned that he beat you up yesterday. Did I hear that right, Theodore? You want to repay the favor?
Number 3, fuck this guy.
Hell yeah.
Gladly.
Go right ahead.
Yep, it's on Torque's turf.
Take him.
Ah, if only we were full.
I find it funny that that's a full only option.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be like the mercy kill?
It's not a kill. Staking a vampire will only paralyze them.
Or yeah, but like as opposed to just beating the shit out of whatever, we're beating the shit out of him. Go ahead.
You hit Vince once, twice. He's chuckling in the beginning, but you focus your blood for some extra oomph and keep hitting him again. Again. More. Until he stops laughing. He's bruised, battered, and broken. The two Anarch dudes let go of him and you kick him some more while he's on the floor. You only stop when you hear Torque's voice. Enough's enough, Theodora. He takes an old pool cue and breaks it over his knee. Stake him and take him downstairs. Let's keep Callahan guessing about what happened to his favorite puppy. Mia takes the sharp piece of wood and jams it into Vince's chest. His features grow slack, his entire body inert. He doesn't even give out a yelp. The other two Anarchs take him out of the room. As entertaining as that was, I think Vince, in his unmatched wisdom, shared more than Callahan would hope for. This changes things. Ever hear about Operation Lights Out, Theodora? It was a Second Inquisition effort here in New York City. A single night of raids at a magnitude never seen before or since. The Ivory Tower got away with just a few losses here and there. No major players were hit. They managed to find safe spots and stay out of the eye of the shitstorm. Us, though, we got hit hard. All over town.
Real quick, by Ivory Tower, does he mean Camarilla? Or
That's correct.
Like Okay.
We got hit hard. All over town. Havens were rooted out. Entire coteries and safe houses gone, just like that. Nobody saw it coming. I barely got out in one piece. Mia looks at him with concern and puts a hand on his arm. He shrugs it off, gently but surely. Others, like my child Barb, or Mia's sire, extinguished. But you know who got out without a scratch? Callahan.
Oh, he sold information. Oh no.
We've thought about it the past few years. How is it that Big B managed to excuse himself from the Staten Island Museum where we used to meet just before vans full of guys in body armor showed up? How is it that my baby is burning up after being shot with incendiary rounds? I also see Doug Callahan running with his tail between his legs, pushing fledglings like you in the path of the SI. We think the bastard knew what was coming, and he set us up. Not just us. Some of our brothers and sisters who got hit had some of the lowest profiles in this city's lick population. The moral of the story? Callahan is an opportunistic motherfucker, and even if his thickest followers suggest he's going to sell me out, then that's what he's going to do as sure as the sun rises. He pauses for a moment, and you see him reach a decision. You said something about Langley having an offer for me. Might be your fault in part that I'm at this juncture, but now's going to be as good a time as any to listen to what she has to say. I don't think that's wise, T. Well then, what would you have me do? You said it yourself. It's all this fledgling's fault. They brought this on us. So let's use them as a bargaining chip. Callahan wants them. Langley needs them. They're valuable.
Oh, if you get two whole options to be like, why are you being so mean, Mia? Don't be icky.
Hey, you were icky to me a minute ago.
Honestly, number one. No, you're wrong. I'm just a pawn. That's why Sophie sent me here. Plausible deniability and all that. I'm expendable.
The realization that you just summarized the entirety of the last 2 weeks or so hits you hard. But if there was a moment to be honest with yourself, it's now. Fuck! The man puts his hand on Mia's shoulder. She calms down a bit. We're afraid, Theodora. But then what else is new? It's a paradox being who we are. The hunter one night, the hunted another. Masters of the night, slaves to dawn. A duality to everything. Mia, I understand your concern, but I need you to trust me like you did before. This is my call and my responsibility. You can give me shit about it later, like I'm sure you will. Count on it. He smiles, then takes a no bullshit look and points at you. 3 conditions. First, you come pick me up personally and bring me to the meeting spot. Anything goes sideways, it's your ass. Second, Mia's coming with me. No 2 ways about it. 8 eyeballs in the meeting. The two of you, the 2 of us. Nobody else.
Hang on, how do I know you're not tricking me? Lift up your hat and show me that you have too.
You don't make jokes. The third, the meeting is in public, downtown, some spot frequented by mortals. We see you take us anywhere fishy, we check out and fuck you up as a message to Langley. I count on it not coming to that, though. You seem likable enough. The cam hasn't got its talons in you yet. Keep it up, and maybe you'll come to the same conclusion we did in your own time.
Number 1. I'll make sure to repeat your conditions to Sophie. I would love if this guy shows up and he's like, that's right, I did it exactly like we said. Reveals he's only got one eye and then, I don't know, summons his Ahriman familiar. Here's my other eye.
Don't make jokes. You do that. I'm not saying he'll do it. I'm saying that is 100% something that can be done within the confines of Vampire the Masquerade.
Okay, gotcha.
Best be on your way. Ask for me here when you need me. The bartender knows how to get in touch. Just ask him to put the owner on the line. Mia walks you to the door and accompanies you to your car. Listen, about what I said before. Fuck off.
Number 2. About what I said before. Die. Yeah, what about it?
Die. I panicked. That's all that was. It was unfair what I said. If anything, it's my fault. I'm angry with myself, and that makes me angry with you. Also, no, I actually do have plenty of reason to be angry with you. Forget it. See ya.
Wow, that's like the most emotionally mature thing anyone said to us in this game.
Yeah. She starts walking back to the bar as you start the engine and head back to Sophie's apartment. Time to give Sophie the good news. She welcomes you as openly as ever, clearly excited to see you and for what news you might bring.
Good evening, Theodora. How's your task going? You have something for me, perhaps?
Number 3. We got trouble, my friends. Oh my god, we were actually just at a pool hall.
Yeah.
Trouble. Did what you ask. The meeting is set up. I suggest we take advantage of it quickly, though. There's going to be trouble.
Trouble? What trouble?
Number 2. Boss Callahan's goons grabbed me yesterday and forced me to meet with him. He was very clear that I cannot be seen talking to Torque or he'll have me killed. I went and did it anyway.
I appreciate your dedication. I really do. I'm sorry if you got hurt. Thank you for following through. Well, let's hear it. What did Torque agree to?
You relay the Anarch leader's conditions. You are to pick him and Mia up. The meeting should only include the 4 of you, and it should be held in a public space.
Those are all fair enough, although I do worry about that Mia character. Tell me, do you think she's trustworthy?
I mean, she's at least as trustworthy as you.
Not at all.
Let's, you know what? After that last bit, I'll go to bat for Mia. We'll say number 2. I met some Anarchs over the past few nights, and she was one of the more agreeable ones. She's fine, I guess.
I see. Very well. As for the place, I wonder if they'd agree to meeting in Hudson Yards. The vessel. Plenty of tourists visit that place, but if we go there after midnight...
She seems to have made up her mind.
Yes. Bring them tomorrow night. Look for me near the top level.
Number 1. Tomorrow already? I don't think they're expecting me back so soon.
Yes, tomorrow. For reasons that shall be made obvious when we talk. Pick them up at midnight, then drive back to Midtown. That's the plan. I'll be waiting as long as it takes, within reason. I'm counting on you, Theodora. The final puzzle piece is about to find its way to its destination. And after that, we will all get our just rewards. You, me, the Camarilla, even the Anarchs.
Your eternal reward.
I could kiss you.
Yes, you'd like that. You desire it. She must have caught it in your expression.
If
She
you say
smiles.
so.
Yeah.
A figure of speech, darling. Or at least it is tonight. But a few nights from now, who knows? I'm growing fond of you. And success whets my appetite for these kind of things.
The sexual tension in the room becomes unbearable until it suddenly disappears. Was this another one of Sophie's tricks, or an actual spark of arousal in both of your undead bodies? You certainly felt the blood flow through you for a short moment. The warmth in your groin takes you by surprise. You didn't think it could do that anymore, or did you just imagine it?
Let's take a turn.
Use the rest.
Oh yeah, I guess there is a dating sim element to this. Forgot all about the Sophie route that you're automatically put on at the beginning of the game, and there are no other routes.
You have no choice. Use the rest of this night well, Theodora, and rest. We are but a day's sleep away from shaking this city away.
Use the rest of this night well. Kill Paul Blart.
Well, speaking of which...
Let's go kill Paul Blart.
You've taken care of Frank Doherty, but apparently there's someone still staking out Sophie's apartment. He's not that stupid, is he?
I mean, he's either Paul Blart or Peter Griffin, and either way, it doesn't bode well.
Yeah. The weather is cold and windy as you walk to Sophie's apartment. As a vampire, that doesn't matter anymore. You may have been saddled with eternal hunger, but at least you can ignore the wind chill. Just as you come to the door of Sophie's building, she storms out, murmuring into her phone.
Yes, I know. Don't worry, I trust you to handle it.
You walk from Sophie's apartment directly back to Sophie's apartment. You've heard Sophie talk to her associates before. It's always the same, generalities and vague suggestions. It makes you think she's involved in mysterious machinations, yet doesn't tell you anything. Sophie is dressed to kill, but there's nothing unusual in that. She likes to make an impression. A black car with the tinted windows is waiting for her in front of the door. A chauffeur steps out to open the car door for her. Sophie notices you.
Sophie is dressed to kill. She comes out looking like Conan the Barbarian, holding a great axe.
I'm glad you're in the neighborhood. If you could look around for me one more time, that would be wonderful. You told me you'd gotten rid of that reporter. Turns out he's still here, snooping around.
You dumb bitch!
You bitch!
Sophie is very good at communicating disappointment. She doesn't have to do much to make it clear that she's unhappy to have to return to this issue.
Damn it, woman, you were just coming on to me. I'm getting very mixed signals here. I'll be honestly, number one. Thought he was gone for sure. He didn't seem very brave.
Well, sometimes cowards are even worse than those with a backbone. They're sneakier. The reporter talked his way into the building during the day. Once the doorman understood what was happening, he threw the reporter out. He showed old pictures of me to my neighbors. It's very awkward, you understand?
Sophie disappears into the car and the chauffeur closed the door behind her. You watch as the sleek vehicle disappears into the Manhattan traffic, just one anonymous car among many. Best sit down somewhere and devise a plan of action. You go to a nearby diner, settle into a booth, and order a coffee from the steely-eyed Latino waitress. As she brings you your cup, you describe Frank Doherty to her on the off chance that she's seen something. Just as she's about to answer, you happen to look outside. Something catches your eye. The diner is brightly lit, so you lean closer to the window to see the street through it. Morfogu is sitting there, face pressed against the window, drinking rainwater.
Morfogu is sitting there, face down in a puzzle, alternatively drinking and trying to drown himself.
Yeah. You got lucky. Frank is standing on the sidewalk on the other side of the street, looking at something on his phone. You slide out of the booth, throwing a few small bills on the table, mumbling something to the waitress. You step outside.
Alright, let's follow him covertly.
For a reporter, Frank isn't terribly observant. You keep your distance, hiding behind people and cars, but he doesn't look around. Seems like he wants to find a private nook to inspect the photos he took tonight. An alley. He ducks in, and you follow. Oh God, it's you again! Please, I'm working on a different story, I swear!
God.
Frank retreats deeper into the alley.
I hope this guy turns out to be an immensely powerful vampire and we have to fight him.
I would love that more than anything.
Number 2. Don't worry, Frank. I know all about why you're here.
You do? Okay, I'm sorry I tried to bullshit you. Just tell me how I can help you.
You can help me by dying. Number 1? How come you're here? I thought we agreed there's no story.
Usually when someone says there's no story, that means there is a story. I just couldn't let it go.
Yes, obviously that means there's a story. What it means is that you should back off unless you want to fucking die.
Look, I'm a reporter. I'm a journalist. I don't know how to tell you this. This is what I do. Look, I don't want any trouble. I can see that you're serious. There is something to Sophie Langley, and I think you know what it is. You take a long, hard look at Frank Doherty. He's a tenacious man, but not brave. After the last time you met, you were sure he had been dealt with. Where did he find the courage to come here?
Okay,
again?
so based on how that's worded, I'm gonna assume that he was put up to this by, like, a rival vampire, and so I mind controlled him to go away, and then they were like, hey, why don't I have those pictures yet? And he was like, no, there's no story, and they were like, mind control, yes, there's a story, yes, there's a story! And this poor motherfucker is just pinballing back and forth across town.
Just sending him...
Number 2. I like you, Frank. You don't give up. What's your real angle here?
Everybody plays an angle. That's one of the things you learn in my profession. You're smart. You know that there will be others after me. And if there's a real story, they will come and find it.
Did you just play the fucking 008 will avenge me card?
Your best shot is with a friendly reporter. Someone you could trust. Someone like me. So what do you say? Get ahead of the story. It'll be good for you and Miss Langley, too. You almost believe it, but something about Frank feels off.
Number 1. I want more information before I bother spending blood on this. Do you have a personal interest in Sophie Langley, Frank?
What? No! Or, I mean, look, she's a very attractive woman, but I make it a rule to never get involved with the people I write about.
Number 2. Come on, Frank. You must have a personal reason. Is this revenge for something she did to you? Were you her spouse who she dumped on the Titanic?
No, I've never met Sophie Langley. Sometimes I just need some extra money, that's all.
Number 1. Where does this extra money come from?
There's a guy. He's paying me, that's all. But I can't talk about that.
Oh, holy shit, I can just leap straight to murder.
To be fair, that'd probably fill us up.
Yeah. I mean, this guy is annoying, but feels like a leap to go straight to killing him over this. Let's go with number 2 first. Come on, you can give me more than that.
No, really. Even I don't know all that much about these people.
Number 1, let's appeal to his journalistic instincts. You're a reporter. What do your instincts tell you?
I'm not sure. I can't get a handle on them. I don't think it's blackmail, or a business rival, or an ex. Okay, that's enough. I can't tell you anything more. You gotta consider the position I'm in.
Yeah, I think the position you're in is that you have to keep telling me things until I'm satisfied, or else you die. But I mean, I'm just saying. Number 3. Here's some free advice. Spend less time jumping hoops at the behest of scary strangers. Life will go better for you. Some advice that I, myself, will patently ignore.
Fine, I'll leave her alone. I'm done with this. It was all bullshit anyway. You could tell Sophie Langley that you won't see me here anymore. As Frank leaves the alley, you consider your victory. He sounded defeated, sincere. Is it really up to him whether he returns or not?
Oh, that's it? Oh, okay. Alright, well.
You wake up. This is not your haven. It's a cramped space. You try to move your arms and find that they are tied to your body. You can barely bend your legs when you try to stretch your neck. You hit a cold ceiling. You can't quite believe it, but this is a coffin, or something close enough to it. It vibrates slightly, but you can't hear any sounds coming from outside. It's nearly dark. You hear on the outside of it.
I pranked you, bitch.
Remember the time I staked a vampire?
God. Oh.
Lois?
Lois? God, Peter, this is worse than that time you staked a vampire.
Ah!
Ah! And then
1.
entire chicken fight scene.
Yeah.
I'm going to cry. You're making Moni cry.
You kick the front of the container. The only reaction is a dull metallic sound. You try using your fists, but there's just not enough room to get a good punch in. It seems pretty hopeless. Some more tries. Nothing. This is bad. Suddenly, the container is moved slightly. A moment of silence, an indistinctive male voice shouting, a muffled shot. Silence again. The lid comes off. What the? You're here. That's a relief.
Tell me I didn't just cut the driver up for nothing.
Follow us, and quick. Aw, D'Angelo isn't our boy. Seeing their faces is surprising, even more so in these circumstances.
I like to imagine that D'Angelo's detective work led him to tip them off.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah, that's a good
acceptable. And Hope was just like, who the fuck was that? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that person I got to mod my site for a night and then they never showed up and talked to me ever again? God, that was weird. I assumed she died.
I think I successfully scared her off.
Yeah. However, you realize the immediate danger and follow your companions out of the car and down a street in North Bronx. No, we did succeed in the D'Angelo route, but 2 people show up no matter how many of them you complete. The van has crashed into another car. A familiar face, that of Kaiser's ghoul, Jackie, stumbles out of the wrecked sedan and slinks his way into the darkness before you can call after him. The 3 of you jog toward the line of trees and take shelter under some branches just as you hear a chopper approaching. Its searchlight illuminates the wrecked van and moves towards you. Get on the ground!
Oh, damn, this escalated fast. Ugh.
Agathon takes something out of his pocket. You hear a soft breaking sound, and then he just disappears from sight.
My favorite ritual.
You look to Tamika and almost do a double take when you see her submerged up to her neck in the soil. She then disappears entirely underground.
Thanks
Bye!
for abandoning me, asshole.
You're left alone with seconds to make your move before the spotlight finds you.
I feel like behind a tree does not really work against a helicopter, so we're gonna dive under a bush.
Seeing no better option, you find the nearest bush and dive right under it. It's probably not the best or smartest thing to do, but you have to trust your gut. The illumination passes only inches away from you, but it's just a pattern of light on the ground. The trees block a good portion of it. It doesn't dwell on you. It doesn't seem like they've spotted you or any of your companions. The helicopter flies on, its searchlight frantically moving through the vicinity as your companions once again appear in your proximity. We have an opening. Let's go before the SI decides they want to do another sweep.
Damn.
Number 2. Feels like this is the catch-all, most useful question to ask. Care to tell me what's going on?
Tamika, care to fill her in?
SI nabbed you 2 days ago. They raided your haven, stalked you while you slept, and took off with you.
Staked.
Staked you. We only learned this last night from Kaiser of all kindred.
I mean, I feel like there's... Of course Sophie's safe. She never put herself in any danger. You know what, I'll ask why the fuck Kaiser is being a G for me right now. Kaiser organized this whole effort? Why would he do that?
No, I don't know the dude. From what I heard, he's no good Samaritan, though.
Speaking of, he's here. Come on. Kaiser's familiar car stops nearby, and the back door opens. Your allies usher you inside and join you. Being inside this mobile fortress never felt like a relief, until now.
Ugh, not... This is the worst place to be. In debt, owing a solid to Mitch McConnell.
Hey, fledgling, miss me?
Is that your Mitch McConnell?
Hello, I can't open my mouth very wide as I am a turtle. Hey, fledgling, miss me?
Number 2. No, not really, but I will say this. I'm glad you're here.
Well, I'm not overtly fond of breaking licks out of covert SI transports, so I consider this an investment.
That was a civilian transport. No convoy, nothing. I expected more resistance.
What? You wanted more to sharpen those claws of yours on? Don't worry, that still might happen. You might even regret it. Things are afoot, as the adage goes. Anyway, listen up, Theodora. You are here now only because I told your buddies that you were neck deep in shit. That van you were in, a one-way ticket to Hertzville, Pennsylvania.
Physically?
I broke you out as a favor. Now you owe me.
one-way ticket to the baddie corner.
Now you owe me. Big.
Number one. How the hell did you know the SI broke into my haven and took me away?
Is that a piss-poor attempt at an insult, fledgling? I've kept my eyes on you ever since that little job you did for me in Nolita. You know, in case I needed you for something else. I had to know your comings and goings. I have a good idea of why the SI hit you, Theodora. Not that there aren't tons of good reasons for it. Might have been one of these, for instance. The screen in Kaiser's car flickered, and each of them now shows a short looped clip. It's you, getting into a fight, feeding, using one of your powers. You haven't exactly kept a low profile, fledgling. I get it. You're new to this. You didn't know better. Yada yada yada. The fact is, the SI has tons of this stuff. Security camera footage, YouTube videos posted by onlookers, social media profile posts from victims, you name it. Like I said, though, I don't think any one of these did you in. Slip-ups happen. The reason I need you walking and talking, Theodora, is to test a hypothesis of mine. For that, I need you to finish what you were tasked to do. So, first things first. Here. He hands you a phone. The number has already been dialed, and you hear the tone. Somebody picks up.
Who is this?
Here, he hands you a Sierra Mist. Number one?
It's me, Sophie.
Yeah, it's me, Sophie. I am Sophie now.
Theodora? Are you okay?
They're fine and dandy.
You can tell maybe that they had to rush the script writing for this last bit just because I noticed when we got here they stopped using gender-specific pronouns.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mo?
Kaiser, what are you doing on this line?
What do you think? It's my phone your protege is using, so keep it snappy. Operating a secure network ain't cheap. Come on, Theodora, spit it out.
Reluctantly, we'll give credit where credit's due. We'll say number one. Kaiser saved me from the Second Inquisition, Sophie. I only got out because of him.
Your companions look at one another dejectedly.
Okay, I didn't think he was gonna say, I only got out because of him. Come on. Game. Fucking guilting me over nothing.
The SI? That's what I feared. Listen, the plan. We need to do it tonight. But if the Inquisition is involved and you broke out, they'll be looking for you, so we can't meet in public. I have a place in mind, but... Kaiser, are you still listening?
Would I tell you if I wasn't?
Theodora, call this number from where you visited before we last spoke. I'll come pick you up.
She hangs up. And that's that. Well, Theodora, care to elaborate?
Yes, I feel like I missed the part where you were involved in some conspiracy.
Ha! Them, us, Agathon here, and every other kindred in this goddamn city, and everywhere else as far as I know. We'll talk more after our mutual acquaintance continues with their night. If my intel is worth a damn, your next stop, Theodora, is right about here. The car comes to a stop and the door opens. Outside, you see the street leading up to Solids and Stripes, Torque's pub. Well, you need me to kick you out?
Number 2? What about Agathon and Tamika?
What about them? They're staying right where they are, and we're going to have a little chat. After we're done, I'm sure they'll find their way back to their havens just fine. The clock is ticking. I think I know what Sophie wants to do tonight.
What?
Sorry, I just thought... What about they're staying right here and we're going to have a little chat? I need their votes to confirm Amy Coney Barrett.
God.
God.
The world.
Just running 24-hour C-SPAN on in the background. If you want to say bye-bye to your buddies before you go, that's fine by me, but the schedule of yours is pretty hectic, so you better do it now and scram.
Number 1, since the game made me a dick for no reason before.
You thank both of your companions for their assistance. Without them, you wouldn't be here now. Kaiser makes a gagging gesture and urges you to step out of the car.
Damn.
You turn around and make your way to the bar. The door closes behind you and Kaiser's limo starts moving again. You hope your companions won't have to pay too high of a price for helping you. The Solids and Stripes is pretty much abandoned tonight, with only the bartender and one bleary-eyed local watching an old Bogart movie on the bar's screen.
The bleary, one-eyed local. Oh, it's Torque.
Yeah, it's me. You ask to use the phone and call Sophie first.
Yes.
Ian, number 2. I'm here. What's the plan?
We're on our way. Notify Torque if he's not there. We need to talk as soon as possible and move quickly.
She hangs up. You tell the bartender to notify Torque, just like the Anarch leader mentioned you should. The man makes a short call. You only hear somebody picking up, but no words exchanged. The owner's on his way right now. Can I get you anything while you're waiting?
Oh, you look a little too eager there, friend.
I'm very passionate about my job.
This is a vampire bar.
Number 2? I'm curious whether this guy knows the biz. Actually, do you serve the, special stuff?
The bartender raises an eyebrow. The special reserve, you mean? Sorry, I can only serve that to a narrow selection of the owner's friends.
I'm not gonna fucking steal this shit, so, you know what? I almost got kidnapped and died. I'm gonna swallow my pride and give the pathetic answer, so we'll go number 1. Listen, it's been a rough night. Give me a break, please. Just a sip.
I don't know. I really should. What the hell? You look like you do look like you need it. He takes a bottle from behind the counter and pours a bit of brown liquid into a glass. It's whiskey. There. Enjoy, he watches you.
Yeah.
Your disappointment is palpable. At least the smell is nice. Torque
God,
comes
I'd be
in
so mad if I used presents to get that.
Oh, yeah. Livid. Torque comes in some 10 minutes later without Mia. He tips his hat to you, puts a hand on the bleary-eyed patron's shoulder, and says something to him under his breath. They both laugh. Marty, how's the night going? Quiet, sir. Just how you like it, huh? Torque notices the untouched glass with a bit of whiskey in it that you persuaded the bartender to pour. For me? You shouldn't have. He takes the glass and drinks the liquid, moving it around
Oh, thank
in his
God,
mouth
he's saving
before
me from
swallowing.
social embarrassment.
He looks you in the eye. Sure, I won't keep it in forever, but the night when I don't enjoy the taste of a good whiskey is the night when I will truly consider myself damned. Well, Theodora, I believe you wanted me here for a reason. Let's hear it. You're about to tell him what brought you here when the doors to the bar open and Sophie walks in. All splendor and charisma. The patron's eyes are now glued to her, and so are the bartender's. Torque isn't happy with the sight. Well, this is not what we agreed upon, is it, Theodora? Care to explain?
Number 3. Things got complicated. We had to improvise.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance. I believe Theodora already told you why I'm here.
Not in any detail, and the circumstances of our meeting were supposed to be different. So, Miss Langley, tell me why I shouldn't ask you to leave and kick out your protege while I'm at it.
You will like what I have to say.
Yeah, I've heard that line 100 times, but 99 of those ended with somebody getting hurt, and that's not something I'm in the mood for tonight.
We're wasting time. There's a unique opportunity we should take advantage of, and we only have an hour or so to discuss it before it'll be time to act. My driver's waiting outside.
Wait a goddamn minute. First of all, I'm not going anywhere without Mia. That was the deal. Second, it's Theodora who was supposed to do the driving, not your servant.
Both serve me, so it's really of little difference. The circumstances changed, so we had to adapt. Don't be so stubborn. Or don't be stubborn. Foolishness doesn't suit you. I have a secure spot in mind where we can talk.
I'll stop you right there. Torque is seething, but he's keeping a lid on his anger. His voice barely changes. My conditions were clear. The way I hear it, you want to break each one of them. I see no reason to agree to any of this. I believe I'll be staying put tonight. You have places to be, yes?
Torque, you are throwing away the only chance you have at challenging Callahan. Don't be a fool.
The lid comes off. Call me a fool one more time, woman, and that's not the only thing I'm gonna be throwing.
God.
This is a rough one.
I'm gonna be honest, Sophie is doing herself no favors with her, like,
Dude.
with her fucking, just fucking
Her Sophiness.
say what happened and why there is any, instead of just being like, if you don't agree to the stuff that is not at all what you agreed to, you are a big dum-dum poo-poo head. Weirdly, Sophie, you should have let me do the talking.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even gonna admonish them both. I'm just gonna say Sophie, Torque's right. Sophie, Torque's right. This does sound like a setup. I wouldn't trust you either in this situation.
You dare!
She slaps you fast, hard. The sound reverberates in the mostly empty bar. Torque smiles. See, Theodora? That's the cam in a nutshell. You obey them to the letter, or they put you in your place. It's Sophie who's seething now.
I don't have any more time for this charade. Fine. Stay here, both of you, if that's what you want to do. What was I thinking risking my reputation for you, Theodora?
Shots break the front windows and a flashbang goes off in the room, changing the bar into a space of white light and a ringing noise. You feel somebody tugging at your back and are thrown behind the bar. More shots ring out. Bottles break, the TV shatters into pieces, and the wooden bar splinters. Your sight comes back, but you think you've gone deaf, and suddenly the room is silent. You see Torque beside you, and Marty, the bartender, bleeding out on the floor. You look over the bar. Sophie is standing there. Her dress partially tattered, a visible hole in her leg. She is like the heart of a supernova, entrancing, unavoidable, beautiful, and terrifying. In front of her are 8 operatives, looking like a private military force, just standing there, paralyzed by Sophie's magnificence.
Torque, are you still there?
Yeah.
Would you kindly show your guests some hospitality?
Sure thing. The Anarch is gone in a blink of an eye, and he reappears next to one of the soldiers. The armor-clad operative's head disappears into a puff of blood and bone. The same thing happens to the second, the third. You hear the radios go off in each other's shoulders, a panicked voice pleading them to wake up. The fourth head pops, the fifth. They finally realize what's happening, but it's too late. The sixth man is beheaded by what you see now is just Torque's bare-fisted punch.
Potence?
Torque stops by the seventh man, rips something off his neck, and bites down. Sophie walks over to the last and has him kneel in front of her before biting as well. On your right, a man in full body armor emerges from the back door, raising his assault rifle. What the fuck?
You know, we're here, like, we're off the shits. It's like endgame. Let's use our powers.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
It's not smart, but it's what your instincts tell you to do. You jump in front of the soldier just as he pulls the trigger. Bullets sink into your body, ripping and tearing your flesh, each projectile a micro bomb exploding inside you. A combat knife crashes through the soldier's visor and into his skull. You turn around, Torque is grinning. He mouths something under his breath. Langley. Sophie wipes her mouth of blood and looks at him. That meeting's still an item?
Yes.
I'll take it.
Splendid.
Torque walks behind the bar and checks on the bartender. You see the Anarch open his own wrist and feed blood to the wounded man. Drink up, Marty. It'll make you feel better. Get the hell out of here and wait for Mia. She's coming. She'll know what to do.
Tor.
Yeah, coming. Take the back door. Theodora, come on. You slink back into an alley behind the bar, leaving 10 bodies and 1 grievously wounded ghoul behind. Nobody stops you from circling around the block and finding your way to Sophie's car. Man, Mia's gonna be pissed when she gets here.
God.
Yeah.
What the hell? You want me to clean up all of this shit? Gregory drives away casually, as if this was just another late-night drive and not the crowning of a desperate, complicated evening. Sophie brings you all to a luxurious apartment in Manhattan's Upper West Side. The way she explains it, the vampire who owned it left the city a few years ago and gave away spare keys to a few trusted compatriots. It's been used sporadically since. Fancy.
You like it? It always felt too modern for my tastes. But what's important is that it's secure.
As long as nobody followed your car here, or the fledgling, trouble follows this one wherever they go.
Even if that's the case, we have very little time to conduct our business here anyway, and we'll be leaving soon, I hope. So let's begin.
Yeah, I'm fucking done. This is number 3. Fuck it, like,
Talk, please.
yeah.
You look at Sophie, excited. Finally, you'll learn what it is that you've been working towards for more than a week, and what it is that Kaiser wanted you to participate in.
I've invented a wonderful new flavor of cotton candy, and I'm looking for a business partner.
Oh my god! People died in its wake. I have it on good authority that Boss Callahan is bloodbound to Prince Panhard.
Torque sucks air in loudly. That's an accusation and a half there, Langley. Got proof?
No, but we're just a boat ride away from getting it.
What's that supposed to mean?
Theodora, the address that I procured from Kaiser was the meeting spot for Panhards, and the Baron's regular sharing of blood, and other bodily fluids if the rumors are true.
Wait,
Ew.
Kaiser knew about this?
Now, finally, we've discovered the true Icky.
Yeah.
For the sake of the audience and anyone who doesn't know, a blood bond is essentially like, it's kind of like ghouling another vampire. They will become addicted to your blood and obsessed with you, and they will essentially be emotionally compelled to do whatever it is that you ask of them.
Yeah. Is there anything that insufferable clump of dead skin doesn't know in this city? He knows things, but only shares them if you pay. Neither the prince nor Callahan can touch him. He's too useful.
I feel like the most logical question is number 2.
Yeah.
Aren't you afraid this is some kind of trap? Maybe they know we'll be coming because Kaiser told them.
I consider that might be the case. If that's what happened, then it's already done. This was an ever-present risk, but it hasn't stopped me thus far. It won't now.
I don't like that he's involved, but then again, I've been in this city long enough to know that he's usually involved in some way. What was the address he gave you?
They meet regularly on Ellis Island. In fact, their next scheduled meeting starts in just around half an hour.
Hot damn. I'm guessing you want to crash that meeting. Why?
So you can see the proof yourself. So that I can make sure too. And so that I have an extra pair of eyes for Panhard to consider when I present to her my ultimatum. The prince must abandon her seat and leave New York City. She can go wherever she pleases, but if she stays, the entire court will know, and the next prince might not look favorably on her past.
Sophie, I'm not sure you understand what being a good prince is.
Yeah.
If you're the prince and you have the Anarch Baron bloodbound to you, that's Gucci all around, baby.
You're actually doing really well.
Yeah.
Dealing with the Anarchs, especially so closely, is a punishable offense in the Camarilla, as I'm sure you've heard.
So I did. Torque strokes his beard and looks intently at Sophie. What exactly are you trying to accomplish here? Say you remove Panhard, and I even remove Callahan. Then what?
Torque, did you ever wonder why Callahan is keeping you in check? Because I wondered why the prince condemns anarchs during her visit to Elysium, but doesn't allow the ivory tower to challenge you. She, or they, have engineered this status quo not for the good of their sex, but for private gain. They keep us all in line because it lets them hold on to power that much longer. You know, like good vampires.
And your goal is what? Make this Cold War turn hot? Not a great plan. You cammies will get your butts kicked out of NYC in no time.
And if you anarchs manage to organize, which I doubt you will, at any rate, it's a risk I'm willing to take. I don't stand alone in this. This entire operation has been years in the making. Torque, I am offering you a chance to get square with Callahan and level the playing field. If we get rid of these two, we can start on equal footing at the next stage of this dance macabre.
I mean, all of these are good questions.
Mm-hmm.
I am most curious about the first one, though. Sophie, why am I here? I understand you needed me to set this meeting up, but why am I listening to all this?
It's a precaution, in a way. It's a shame this Mia you told me about didn't make it in time to listen to this too.
I can still call her, but it'll probably be an hour before she gets here.
Well, we can't wait that long. You'll have to suffice, Theodora. I am risking the prince's or even Callahan's wrath. Well, I don't think they would dare lay a finger on me. Another set of eyes to watch over the meeting can't hurt. And I did promise I'd explain everything in time, didn't I?
You know, after all those years spent in Callahan's shadow and taking part in all the kindred dick measuring contests, I should expect a ruse, some ploy to kill me in an out-of-the-way place. That's our inherent paranoia talking. My gut tells me it's time to get this show started. I do hope you have a boat nearby, Langley. Sophie smiles mischievously.
Of course I do. It's waiting for us by the pier.
Greater than sign colon
Yeah.
3T.
Meow.
Lead the way then. Moonlight's burning. The three of you leave the apartment and walk towards the pier. Nobody seems to be following you. You get on a small patrol boat and double time it through the Hudson's cold, dark waters. Out of all the places in New York City where the Prince and the Baron could meet, and it's Ellis Island. A landmark with a dark past, a museum on one hand, a dilapidated piece of history on the other. You leave the boat and make your way to the southern part of the island, paying no heed to the renovated tourist attractions on the northern side. You expected some resistance, a night guard, a helicopter flying overhead, or maybe an NYPD patrol boat. Nothing. The island seems completely deserted. It's clear this sets Sophie on edge. She's moving as quietly and subtly as ever, but you can see that she's eager to reach the particular house her intel pointed out. Torque is following suit, grimly determined, flashing his piercing gaze all over, still clearly uncertain that this isn't some kind of con. Finally, you see it. Light coming from a window in one of the buildings at the edge of the island.
Hilariously, as soon as the game was like, there's no helicopter, a helicopter flew overhead in real life.
Yeah, I saw it. The three of you slowly creep closer to the building and take a look inside the window. There it is. Callahan kneeling in front of the prince, sucking on Panhard's wrist, both fully clothed. A small blessing. Torque makes his move, and before Sophie can stop him, he busts through the building's doors.
Wait, so why are we running in and being like, aha, we caught you? Why aren't we just like taking a photograph?
You know,
Fair.
that'd be real smart-like, but it seems that Torque didn't want to do that.
I think Torque's plan went from, I'm going to blackmail you, to Callahan dies now.
Ooh.
It all happens very quickly. Torque grabs Callahan by the shoulders and throws him through the still open door. Callahan hits the ground, hard. Torque appears on top of him and starts punching. You fucker! You piece of shit!
Stop!
The prince's voice takes hold for just long enough to make Torque relent, which the Baron uses to the fullest. He shoves Torque off of himself and tries to bite down.
Prince, call off your lapdog. Langley, what's the meaning of this?
The two anarchs break apart, both wounded, but neither is quite done yet. They look at one another with pure hatred. Kill the bitch, Helene, but leave the fledgling to me. Right after I deal with this shit stain, I'm gonna... A shrill, unpleasant laugh fills the air. You know who it belongs to.
Oh.
Fucking... So entertaining. Truly, it feels almost a shame to break up this spectacle. But, alas.
Thomas?
Who the fuck is this joker?
Ah, yes, I don't think we met. Though I did hear a lot about you, Mr. Torque. My name is Thomas Arturo, and I...
Callahan uses this moment of uncertainty to strike. He's still too slow for Torque, who throws the boss into a lawn where the two exchange blows again.
It's the chicken fight.
Helen, if you'd be so kind as to ask your friend to not hurt our guest too much.
Callahan, don't kill him.
This time, Callahan comes out on top and grabs Torque in an iron hold. Your companion struggles, but can't quite break away. I will not be denied, Helene. Not this time.
You will do as I command.
And she will do as I command her, Douglas, old boy.
What? Nani?
Like I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, I feel like I need to break up this little spectacle. It's been going on for much too long. You think you're so smart, Langley. You and your clique figured out that there was something fishy going on all on your own. But you were always working with just a piece of the puzzle. Wasn't she, Theodora?
Sophie looks to you, shocked and
Apparently
disappointed.
I was the mastermind? Question mark? Number 2? What are you... What I'm talking about, you ask? You You, fledgling, you don't know. How could you? Only I knew. And your sire, of course. They're the one who agreed to embrace you after some negotiations.
You hear a scream and a curse. It's Callahan, whose arm has nearly been ripped off his body. Torque breaks out of the Baron's grasp, but doesn't continue the
I
attack.
love that shit's just going on in the background.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the plot.
They're just snarling and hissing at each other, fucking rolling around in the lawn while this guy monologues.
Instead,
Wait, I'm sorry, whose arm just got ripped off?
Callahan's arm almost got ripped off.
Okay.
Instead, he's at the edge of the water in the blink of an eye and disappears into the Hudson. The only trace left of him is his fedora.
Oh no.
Leave him! Why can't you just trust the actors to play their roles? No matter. A problem for another night.
He'll reach his allies. He'll tell everyone of this.
Let him! And why not? Nobody will believe him. Besides, his nights are numbered now that he's in the SI's sights.
Sophie looks at you.
How could you, Theodora? I saved you.
Arturo suddenly appears next to her and
Did
slaps
you
her
think
in the
I know
face.
what's going on?
Slap.
Did you hear anything I said, Langley? Nothing? It's not them. It's me. Me!
Oh my god. Thomas, what the fuck?
No, shut up, shut up! I'm talking now. You've played this game all wrong. You were playing on one board, but you're just a pawn on another bigger board. See? You never realized that the people at the top simply flip the chessboard over and punch you in the face whenever they don't like how the game is going.
He motions to the remaining kindred.
But the thing is, you weren't even adept at playing the game you knew. Theodora, just another pawn, placed on the board by my associate. You thought they were your piece, since you took them in. But who gave you that idea?
You return to the night where you were judged by Prince Panhard. The woman in red, Sophie. Somebody speaking to her, a man in glasses. The man standing before you now.
I just also want to say, I just want to point out that I called it.
Oh yeah.
You did.
This is cruel. We know what's going to happen. If only somebody would speak up for the poor child, they could be a useful tool for the Camarilla.
Terror creeps onto Sophie's face.
Of course, those are not the words you heard, would they? Were they? No. You were already grasping for some opportunity to further your scheme. I put the bait out and you took it. Hook, line, and sinker. After that, it was only a matter of time before you started using Theodora as your errand girl. No one is quite as easy to track and monitor as a naive fledgling who's just learning the ropes.
What is it that you want, Thomas?
What do I want? Oh boy. The answer is so simple, but so hard to put into words. Unstable stability. Cutting-edge tales of thrills and intrigue that push it to the limit and then return you to the tried and tested status quo. Gently, infallibly. A system full of distractingly moving parts which simulate conflicts so convincingly that its users never feel a need to direct their energy toward upsetting the system. Achieving the eternal through the disposable. building a city that's like a ship of Theseus, constantly changing its parts, yet always maintaining the same purpose, serving the same goal at all times. A large-scale infrastructure that has something like an exhaust system for the spirits. Something that, disperses the toxicity around instead of concentrating it in a single place.
None of what you're saying makes the slightest bit of sense.
Arturo is momentarily stopped in his tracks. He stares into the sky for a few seconds before a sad grin appears on his face.
Spoken like someone who's never really had what it takes to make it in the big leagues.
With a theatrical snap of his fingers, he gives his last sentence a sense of finality. Something's changed in the air. You could swear you saw a shadow move behind Sophie.
Goodbye, Sophie.
A disheveled woman with what looks to be garden shears appears behind Sophie.
Number 3? We can try? Stop.
Oh no.
You hear the shears snip. Sophie's red hair conceals her face as her head falls, separated from her shoulders. Silence. Arturo's unpleasant laughter erupts right next to you.
Oh, Theodora, your career is moving at a breakneck pace. Moving up and up and up. Let me congratulate you on your promotion. You know, like, it's a dumb thing to say, but I feel like in the shock of the moment, number 1.
Yeah.
They're eating her!
They're eating
And then they're going to eat me!
Oh my god! You killed her! I didn't. My dear Adelaide did. On my orders, fair enough, but my hands, if not my tongue, are clean.
Oh yeah, y'all missed out on Adelaide, the biggest hair crimes.
Oh no.
I think Valerie has the biggest hair crimes, but Adelaide's pretty close.
Helene, feel free to leave us and take the Baron with you.
Thomas, I don't think that you should.
Shush! You're just being jealous. Adelaide, escort the prince and dear old Douglas, please.
Oh. Oh, this isn't too much of a hair crime. It's a little weird. It feels very Diane would.
Is she the weird woman that
Yeah.
was hanging out at the pier or whatever?
No, I don't think she's the weird one that was hanging out at the pier, but there was that shadowed option all game. We could have hung out with Adelaide earlier.
Oh, okay.
Sure thing, darling.
You are left alone next to Sophie's body. You try not to look, but it's hard to ignore her lithe frame decomposing in front of your eyes. Her red dress is like a cloth thrown over a mummified corpse.
Congratulations! You've won this little game. You set out on a suicide mission and successfully brought down the power-hungry wannabe tyrant, even if it probably wasn't the way you imagined it. Now, you're free to enjoy paradise again. Life after death, immortality, eternal youth. What they don't tell you, of course, living in paradise is inherently sinful when not everyone can partake. But you have time to learn how to live with sin, don't you?
He takes a melancholic look at the city skyline surrounding him. The Statue of Liberty and the lights of Manhattan shimmering in the distance.
You know, New York taught me to believe in fate. My unlife began right here, and it began with utter despair. My first instinct was to drown myself in books and keep reading and reading until literature gave me the piece of wisdom I needed to go on. Personally, I find reading a silly hobby in retrospect. I always had this minuscule hope that the next sentence I'd read could finally bring me salvation, but it never did. It only gave me fuel for this elevated, righteous, intellectual suffering. But the more I read, the easier it was for me to boil every paragraph down to a power relationship. The characters' influence over each other, the writer trying to impress the reader, etc. The strings everyone pulls started to look like strands that weave into the fabric of fate. And once I saw its beauty, I got teary-eyed. My architect instincts kicked into overdrive. I didn't have to submit to fate. All I had to do was cooperate with it and wait for my time to shine, give it my input whenever needed, until it trusted me to do more.
Thomas steps over what's left of Sophie, wiping his glasses with an elegant cloth from his pocket.
And it did. Fate let me look after this city. With my architect's tools, I started quietly shaping the streets and corridors, while Kaiser and his ilk shaped the information flow. And among many tools this process gave me, one of them was a way to reliably come up with useful agents like you. The methods I used were crude at times, but the route was there. All you had to do was follow it. Some people write rulebook passages, the others plan city arteries. In the end, the effect is the same. Someone always follows.
He puts on his glasses and gives you a long, hard look.
I've grown fond of you. You've done so well. Even when that idiot Callahan tipped off the Inquisition, you still escaped. I like that kind of resourcefulness. I could use that kind of resourcefulness.
He uncovers his wrist.
So, take my blood, just enough so we can start off on the right foot, as a sign of good faith. A sign that you're ready to play in the big leagues, ready to behold the sights I've prepared for you. What do you say, Theodora?
Dang.
And that is the end of Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. I will get to what I think about this game momentarily, but first I wanna get a good impression of what you think of it, Aram.
Yeah.
Since this is the first thing that, since this is like the first VTM thing that you've ever engaged with at all, really.
Yeah. Okay, well, we only played like 2 hours of Bloodlines. I'll just say, like, instantly, this is way more like, this feels like a way more captivating and well thought out introduction to this setting than Bloodlines. Like, Bloodlines did not look like it had the right gameplay to highlight what is interesting about this setting. You know, from the moment they started you off in the tutorial and were like, here's how to use a tire iron to beat up guys underneath a building.
Yeah.
Talk to Bender to continue. Like, yeah, no, this, so, like, definitely, visual novel seems like a good format for this game.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've only seen it once, but based on what you've told me about what does and does not change depending on what you do, I think this game makes poor use of choice in terms of having anything be consequential in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right up to the final underline on that being, here's your final choice. And the
And you
game's
probably
over, never mind.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that this game is a very solid introduction to the VTM setting. Like it kind of baby spoon feeds you the larger concepts of the setting in a way that I think is fairly digestible for somebody who's like new to it.
Yeah.
It is not a great visual novel. For the reasons that you said. It doesn't take advantage of the fact that it is a visual novel, and therefore that opens things up to perhaps be more affected by your decisions.
Yeah.
So, like, in the event that you don't get any of the people on your side, it's just Jackie. It's just Jackie. I'm here to save you from the Second Inquisition. And while I have finished everybody's storylines before, I have never actually seen what Hope does when she shows up at the end to help. It's the only achievement I haven't gotten in this game.
Well, I mean, I feel like they just sort of bust you out and then turn invisible.
Yeah.
And she's a Malkavian, so
she'll just do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about it as we were in that scene because I was like, it's funny because, like, D'Angelo and Hope would just do literally the exact same thing in that scene. And so, yeah. It's very pretty. I love the art, love the music, love the backgrounds, just a lot. I think it's really nice. But the sequel to it, while overall shorter, is, I think, a better use of that because they sure did get a lot of shit for how that there's one ending and nothing you do really matters at all.
The points didn't matter.
Yeah. And so the second game has you are playing a specific character, and I think that works better rather than playing the character who you just sort of plant yourself into. And the second game has you playing a specific person who is like already defined as a character to an extent. And you do change certain aspects about the way she thinks about the world, and those aspects actually happen in the second game to where you get wildly different endings. There's only 2 endings, but they are very different from one another.
Can I say I am sad that Sophie died?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. I was when I first played it, I was like, "Oh, Sophie, damn."
She's kind of a bitch, obviously, but like, it's hard to like dislike her too much. She's really no worse than most of the people in this society she inhabits.
Yeah.
And better than a fair number. I'm a little surprised that Kadir didn't factor into Endgame at all. I like that he gets like a little bit of an arc. I'm sad he didn't like. It felt like we got the first 2/3 of what he's about, and that there was a third that wasn't in the game.
To me, they clearly loved Kadir when they were going through and writing this game, because Kadir has so many more moments of where it's like, you like he's not in the game a whole lot really, but like he has so many more moments where it goes out of his way. The game goes out of their way to display aspects of his character. They talk a lot more about his. They talk a lot more about like the way that you think he might feel in a certain situation. He's like, oh, you can see pity behind a soft pity behind the resignation in his eyes. Kadir is in the game a lot. Kadir is in the second game a lot more. then he's in this.
Oh,
one.
okay, cool.
That's because he is the best husbando.
Yeah,
option.
everybody knows that like Kadir is just
Kadir
he's
can
the
get
handsome-
it.
Yeah, Kadir can get it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I still don't really, I kind of get, I understand, what Arturo's, position is at the end of the game. I don't think I understand why he needed to do any of what happened in this game.
This game is literally all about him trying to kill Sophie. Killing Sophie was his end game. In this specific situation.
Because she wanted to be Prince.
She wanted to be Prince. She was making some moves, getting a little too big for her britches, and so Arturo, being kind of the power behind the throne, decided basically to deal with Sophie. And I realized it during this playthrough that the monologue at the beginning is him talking to your sire as they arrive in town. And so he is basically just getting your sire, commissioning them to make you, and then they're like, I'm fucking off now. You asshole, I'm out of here.
It's probably just a favor.
Yeah, it's just a favor being paid.
In Vampire Society, favors carry like a huge amount of weight. Because when you're a certain age, money doesn't mean anything.
Everybody's got a ton of fucking money.
Things don't mean anything, but a favor is you could make people do anything.
Yeah.
If you have a favor on them.
The prince of a given city is most likely just the person who has accrued enough favors from everybody else in the city to be like, hey, back my play when I do this. And they have to be like, all right, because the prestation system of favor trading is essentially what stops them all from just being like, well, what if I just killed you instead? And that is essentially the reason that things like the Camarilla need to exist, because they all very much want to just be like, well, why don't I just kill you to each other?
Yeah. And so I guess maybe I'm asking the wrong question here, but they're with all of the people that Arturo apparently controls, was there not a way less circuitous way for him to kill Sophie? Just have pruning shears lady break into her house at night, right? Yeah,
he probably could have just gotten away with it, but it was also about the power play. There is a possibility that he was probably also no, I also want to make it clear to Torque what is going on so that I can discredit him when he starts trying to tell people the truth. And so there are probably layers within layers, but also Arturo's just a drama queen and probably just wanted to do it in the most painful way possible for Sophie before killing her.
I think it was definitely, in my opinion, the reason he went through all of that is in Vampire Society, the prince is the only person who can
legally kill someone. However, because
setting her up to do something bad, that way he could have her executed and the prince go, yep, she deserved it.
Yep, that was necessary because now Sophie knows my secrets, so we're gonna have a secret bond together.
Now the prince has to do it, and the prince is the only person allowed to say, okay, well, they're dead.
Yep.
You can't just kill someone, or the prince will kill you.
Or the prince.
Takes me back to maybe Sophie. Just get a fucking iPhone, take a picture of them wrist fucking, and leave.
Yep. That would have been the move, but Sophie probably was not terribly she probably knew what a phone was, and she probably knew that you could take pictures.
No, I'm sure she knew. I won't call it a plot hole because I'd have to think about it more, and it might be in character for Sophie, but
I don't understand where her confidence was coming from in terms of, yeah, you and I can show up.
And I'm gonna blackmail. I'm gonna
We
blackmail
know your
the
secret
prince,
now, ha ha, and then leave.
and then expect that the prince was not just going
to me,
kill you.
like,
Yeah.
especially if the prince is the one person who can just arbitrarily order people to be executed, I would think the prince is the person where if you're gonna blackmail them, you have to already be like, by the way, I already have photos and a dead man switch.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, this should have been like her with like a really good camera, a really good quiet camera.
Yeah.
But she was just gonna.
Or ideally not her. It should have been, okay, Theodora, here's a camera.
Yeah, here's a camera, go take a picture. Yeah. Yep. And so
like, maybe, like, I guess you can maybe chalk it up to Sophie also being kind of a dramatic bitch and wanting to be like, that's right, I beat you.
it was
Prince."
me
but,
walking
like,
in with presence activated and just being like, dun dun dun. She wanted it
which,
so
like,
bad.
makes sense, but she's like, she's been around the block enough, and she's been so circumspect about using you to do all the stuff that could get her in trouble that it feels weird that she just went in to do it herself at the last minute. But,
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. Torque
feel
did
that too.
also kind of make any sort of decision for her by being like, oh, there they are, I'm getting them, boom.
He's him and Callahan. It's on site.
It's
you
on
know?
site.
That's how it is. It's on site, man.
That's fair.
So wait, did Callahan and Torque both lived, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And
I was like, I'm mad that if they were gonna kill Sophie, they didn't at least also kill Callahan since he sucks and I hate him.
Don't worry, there is a
He's like-
specific investigation that you are investigating in the second game.
Oh, the murder of Callahan.
That is correct. That is
Okay,
the
nice.
primary.
Lovely,
The
lovely.
primary.
Music to my ears. I'm trying to think if there's like a less personable vampire in this game than Callahan. Like, maybe Mitch McConnell, but he at least like kind of plays fair, and he didn't like totally go off on you when if you
Benoit.
try to mind control him like an idiot. So like and like maybe beer hat guy, but he sucks, so you can't really like get that mad at him. I don't know.
Benoit is certainly more unlikable.
Benoit is fucking annoying, but
Yeah.
he's not like a bad person. He's just
Yeah,
Fucking
Benoit gets so Benoit shows up a lot in the second game, and he's actually pretty interesting in that one. In this one, he's my least favorite person to talk to because I'm just
Press
like,
X to
shut
doubt.
up. I'm just like, shut up, Benoit. The only interesting thing you learn about Benoit in this game is that he's Sophie's child.
oh, okay.
Yeah. The other weird one that we didn't really engage with at all was Adelaide. Adelaide is also pretty unpersonable, and her little route that you can take, her sub route, is interesting if nothing else. She basically like stalks you, and you can kind of like start a semi relationship with her, and she's weird, but yeah,
I mean, she's wearing a dead fox.
yeah,
Maybe she's a weirdo.
and so, I think that's all of them. Were there any others? We kind of did Paul Blart. I think he shows up again, and you can get him one more time, if you so desire. Yeah, Benoit wants to talk to Jesus about you. Wants to talk to Jesus about you, and wants to talk to you
And
about
wants
Jesus.
you to talk to Jesus.
And wants
also.
you to talk to Jesus. It's more interesting than that, I think, especially given what I know about the second game. But yeah, a lot of the characters make second appearances in the second game, and everybody kind of gets a little bit of a redesign, and some of those redesigns are very good. Oh, is that what happens in the last Paul Blart scene? He was working for the SI and then he gets killed. It's been a long time since I've done my befriend nobody run. But yeah. And so we'll probably look at the sequel after Trails, which we will pick back up probably next week, right?
I expect so. Yeah, I'll sync up with you later, Austin, and confirm whether I'm good to start next week. But yeah, unless you hear otherwise, expect to see Trails in the Sky second chapter on the schedule for next week.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm here to get back to like what's going on.
Yeah.
Where's Sasuke Joshua?
Mhm,
Like, how did this occur? I'm ready.
It's did Joshua go back and run away with Orochimaru and his snake cultists?
Like, are they going to explain how this 7-year-old was such a good assassin? Are there other 7-year-olds as good as an assassin as Joshua was? I need this.
These are the answers that the people demand.
These are the answers.
Also, I thought it was funny that when we were playing Trails, I of course immediately grabbed Alba because I knew where it was gonna end up, and then in this game you're like, "Hey, Aram,
I just gave you Arturo right off the bat.
I mean, it feels right. It feels natural.
Every game on Monday game night will just turn out to have a twist reveal of me as the bad guy.
One day, you guys need to be polite and give me the secret bad guy. I want the secret bad guy, but I don't know who the secret bad guy is. Also, I can't really complain because I gave you this secret bad guy. Yes, Chapter 1's VOD is on this channel. That's correct.
Oh, you mean first chapter of?
Yeah,
for
first chapter.
Yeah,
on...
we've got a playlist. It's 14 parts, I believe.
Yeah.
Of Trails in the Sky, and then the naming is a little weird because Trails in the Sky first chapter has 5 chapters, and then Trails in the Sky second chapter also has chapters. But yeah, the whole first game is on our playthroughs on the channel.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, we wrapped up a little early, and so we're just gonna. And we even started late, so probably for the best that we started late. And so I'm gonna go ahead and boot us off the stream. If please, if you're new here, come check out our Discord server, where I'll go ahead and grab it.
Well, it is really unacceptable that right-clicking on a channel, the context menu does not have a copy link to server button.
Yeah, that's probably just because like they don't want anyone to be able to do that. But you know what?
I mean, you can make it permission-based. I don't know.
Yeah. So here is our Discord, and you can come by and check out some of the other stuff that we do. We mostly do tabletop streams on here, but like every Monday for the past little while now, Aram, Mo, and I have been like hopping on and doing some video game streams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if you're into tabletop RPGs, we've got literally hundreds of hours worth of that, maybe thousands. And
I'm sure it's over 1,000 at least by now.
It's got to be over 1,000. And so there's that, and also you can check out our Patreon, which I don't have the link for that.
I can grab a link
ready.
to that. Yeah. Obviously, not in this stream, but in our tabletop streams, we have a lot of custom art assets and stuff, and usually those are just commissioned by whoever's running the game, and often, at least in the past, out of their own pocket. And so the main thing we use this Patreon might be down actually because it's not loading, but I'm quite confident this is the link. Don't try to follow it right now, I guess, apparently, or maybe it'll work for you, but it's not working for me. Anyway. We use the Patreon to pay for art and various things to save our GMs some money because most of them do not lead glamorous lifestyles.
It's
of
very
wealth and means.
expensive. It's very expensive to do right by our artists who are very talented.
But yes, so we on there you can find art. As well as some podcasts that we do, and if you want to stop by and give it a look, we'd really appreciate it.
All right, and so with that, we're gonna hop out. Thank you for joining us for this spooky vampire game that ends just as October begins.
No, that's right. That was the secret. That was why it had to be 4 sessions, because we had to make it into October.
Yeah. And so now that October is beginning, vampire is ending.
Trails in the Sky
And
is
we're
beginning.
going back to Trails in the Sky, which is, pretty happy. And so thank you for hanging out, and we'll see you next time. Say goodnight to Chad, everybody.
Goodbye.
Good night. Toodles.
Toodles.
Ah!
Oh shit! Was that a simul-toodles?
We had a double Toodles.